Hello and welcome. My name is Jake Fortney. This is Jake Fortney Fitness, and as you can tell from the title of this video, it is going to be about carb cycling. So essentially, carb cycling is changing your carbohydrate intake on a daily basis to have your low carb days below your metabolic rate and your high carb days closer to your metabolic rate, so you can lift or you don't have to be in a deficit for so long, so it'll bring your metabolism back up. So essentially, a carb has 4 calories in it, a protein has 4 calories in it, and fat has 9 calories in it. This is all grams, so 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So basically the premise that I work off of is Sunday you have 25% of your total carb intake, your max carb intake. Monday is 100%, Tuesday 75, then 50, 75, 150, and that's the week cycle, and then you just repeat. And in this diet, your carbs on your max days are going to equal 40% of your total, and protein is going to equal 40% of your total, and fat is going to equal 20% of your total. So your carbs, you would just take your max carbs and you would plug it in for your 100%. So to figure that out, so let's say you find out your base metabolic rate, so you can look that up online. I'll have a link in the description. That'll give you an idea of what you have. Then you can add calories to it based on exercise, because your base metabolic rate is when you're at rest, so you can add calories based on your exercise, based on your training, based on how aggressive you want your fat loss to be. For the purpose of this, I have a 3,000 example and a 2,000 example. It's easy to figure out. So Sunday 25%, so your max carbs, because to figure that out you would have, if you do the math, you take 3,000 and then you multiply that by 0.4 to get 40% of the total 3,000 to equal your carbs, and then you take that and you divide that by 4, and that'll give you the total amount of carbs to equal 40% of your total carbs, which will equal your 100% value. So for example, with 3,000, 40%, that is going to be 300 carbs. So the 25% is going to be 75, it's going to be 225, it's going to be 150, 225, 300, and 150. So essentially the way I did it is I went off of a 3,000 calorie max, and I had my 100, 75, 100 on the days that I lifted, and I ended up having to do cardio most of these days because it was during basketball season. So essentially I had it higher because I was doing more things, and this allowed me to reset my metabolism and have more of a weightlifting impact and maintain my strength throughout the process. So now for 2,000 calories, this is easy to calculate. All you have to do is the same thing, and you get 40. So this one is going to be 200 max. So let's go ahead and fill that in. And then 50, 150, 100, 150, and 100. So you just have to figure out the base carbs, and then you know how to figure it out based off the percentages. All you have to do is pull out a calculator on your phone, pull out a calculator for school, whatever. Okay, and then in this diet, the protein and the fat stay the same the entire time. So the protein is always going to equal the max on your 100% days. So for this, the protein would equal 300, and it would stay the same all throughout the entire diet. Over here it would be obviously 200, and then that would stay the same the entire diet. Now for fat, 20%, you have to remember that 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So on your 3,000 calorie, the fat it's going to stay at 67 the whole time, and for your 2,000 calories, it's going to stay at around 45 the whole time. Now obviously I did this calculations before for the fat, but then also you have to keep in mind that you don't have to hit these exactly. Like if you had an example day, let's say if you're on the 2,000 calorie max, let's say you would have 202 carbs, 203 protein, and 47 fat. That's close enough. The closer you get, the more accurate it's going to be. And then if you want it to be, then you just track that for the entire week. You track your weight every morning, and if you find that it's too aggressive, then you can increase your calories max, and then you just have to redo the calculations. If you find that it's not aggressive enough, then you can reduce your calorie max and then do that. Carb cycling is a great way to lose fat and maintain your muscle, and that's about all you need to know. This is Jake Fortney. This is Jake Fortney Fitness.